Have you ever had days where all you wanted to do was lie in bed and do absolutely nothing else? You just wanted to be lazy and not worry about any of your responsibilities. We've all had our off days. We've all felt lazy, unmotivated, and uninspired from time to time, and it's normal to feel like that. But we live in such a hyper-competitive society that's so hyper-focused on pursuing success and wealth that it's made us feel internally guilty for the time we spend not working towards something productive. When you overwork yourself to exhaustion and are dealing with chronic stress, it will inevitably have adverse effects on your mental and emotional health. But what if it could be more than that? What if your laziness is more than just you feeling burnt out? Here are 6 warning signs of depression that are more than just laziness. Number 1, you can't snap yourself out of it. A sense of laziness usually creeps in when you're overly stressed or if you've been working too hard for too long. And there are a lot of nifty tips and tricks you can use to snap yourself out of it, like making a to-do list, listening to motivational talks, or setting achievable goals. But when it's depression isn't a choice, and it's definitely not something you can just shake off or get over, no matter what other people tell you. Depression is a serious mental illness that needs to be treated with professional help and medication if required. Oftentimes, depressive episodes can recur throughout your life, so months of therapy may be needed to help you cope. Number 2, you can't cheer yourself up. Do you often struggle with feelings of unexplained loneliness, sadness, and hopelessness? Do you feel exhausted all the time and rarely have any energy? You might be feeling downcast and disheartened for reasons you just don't understand. And nothing you do seems to cheer you up or make you feel better. No amount of sleep, comfort food, self-care activities, or fun times with friends seem to do much to brighten your spirits. When you're battling depression, not even doing the things you used to love the most or spending time with your loved ones can make you feel better. Number 3, you've lost interest in everything. According to the American Psychological Association, a markedly diminished interest of pleasure in activities is one of the hallmarks of a depressive episode. So if you found that your laziness has made you lose motivation and interest in everything, including school and work, then that's a sure sign that something is seriously wrong with your mental health. With depression, you tend to lose interest in your hobbies and emotionally withdraw from those around you. You prefer to stay at home and lay in bed, doing nothing most of the day, because you just can't find it in yourself to care enough about much of anything anymore. Number 4, you can't function like you used to. Do you feel that your laziness is getting out of hand? Has it become too much for you to manage? Is it getting in the way of your work, your school, or your personal life? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you may be dealing with depression. In diagnosing depression, psychologists tend to look at the 4 Ds of abnormality. They are deviance, distress, danger, and dysfunction. So if your laziness is making you dysfunctional, significantly interferes with your everyday tasks, and feels like a constant hurdle in your life, then it may be time to see a mental health care professional about it. Number 5, your laziness isn't triggered by anything. Oftentimes, laziness manifests as procrastination and may be brought on by a number of different reasons. Some believe a sense of laziness reflects a lack of self-esteem, while others would argue it's because of a lack of positive recognition from others. It could also be due to a lack of discipline, self-control, and interest. But what about depression? What brings about depression? Well, the truth is, psychologists don't really know. But one thing we do know for sure is that it isn't usually triggered by just one particular thing. There isn't always a clear reason for why depression might develop. So if you find yourself feeling down, disheartened, and unenergetic all of a sudden, depression may be the reason why. And number 6, your laziness isn't a choice. Finally, but perhaps most importantly, the key difference between depression and laziness is that while laziness can be changed, depression isn't so easily altered. If you're feeling tired or unmotivated, you can do something to change that for yourself. You can rest, brainstorm, look for inspiration, and try out different productivity hacks to help you get out of your funk. But with depression, it's not that easy. It's not a funk that you can just get out of. When you have depression, you're not making the choice to be depressed or stay depressed. In fact, patients with depression often report feelings of extreme guilt, shame, and helplessness due to their depression. No one with depression is ever just doing it for attention. Mental illness goes so much deeper than that. Can you relate to any of the signs of depression in this video? If you or anyone you know is experiencing serious feelings of depression, don't hesitate to reach out to a mental health care professional and get help. Deep in a depressive episode, it can be really hard to see any light. It feels like you're at the bottom of a pit and can't imagine what it feels like to be out of it. At that place, often all you can do is tiny steps and hopefully get some help to get out of there. So don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed by my routine. Just choose one little thing to start with, and then take the next step when you can. Number 1, morning routine. So the first thing I do every day is getting on my knees and praying. I express gratitude for the day and for my life and the opportunity I have to do good in the world. And that connection with God, for me, helps me feel loved and purposeful through my day. If you're not religious, you could do some meditation or a breathing exercise here. I try not to look at my phone first thing in the morning because I want to start my day intentionally, the way I want it to be. If I open social media, I'm letting others choose what I take in, and that could be positive, negative, stressful, uplifting, or critical. And so I just choose to start my day with some quiet time. I do a little reading, and then I write out my goals and priorities for the day. And right now, with all the news that's frightening, I choose to listen to the news around lunchtime, once a day, so that I don't get constantly stressed out and have time to process it during my waking hours. And speaking of waking hours, let's talk about sleep for a minute. My natural wake-up time is around 5 a.m. I don't usually set an alarm, but to wake up then, I often go to bed between 9 to 10 p.m. I'm not fighting my natural biorhythms. I just listen to my body, and this is the schedule that works best for me personally. For many people, they might have different sleep needs or a different schedule. Sleep is super important to managing depression. There's a massive correlation between sleep problems and depression. Lack of sleep can cause depression, and getting good sleep can actually let your brain heal from depression. So I really value my sleep. I have old friends who nicknamed me 905 because I often go to bed at that time and I miss out on some fun for sure, but it's what keeps me healthy, so it's worth it for me. For each person, your sleep needs are different, but getting enough sleep can really make a big difference. One study found that 87% of people with depression who resolved their insomnia significantly decreased their depression symptoms. Number 2, get dressed and showered. Okay, so after waking up refreshed and taking quiet time to pray, study, and set my intentions for the day, I make sure to get showered and dressed. I found that this can be really hard when you're depressed, but being clean and dressed helps me feel more energetic and gets rid of my excuses. I mean, if I have yesterday's makeup all over my face and I'm wearing PJs, it makes it hard for me to want to go out and see friends or be social or get things done. So just get dressed for the day. Then I take my multivitamins, and if I remember, I take my omega-3 supplements. And nutrition is an important part of my routine as well. I try to eat a lot of plants and not too much sugar or processed foods, but I'm not going to go into that too much right now. Number 3, exercise. The other essential part of my mental health maintenance is exercise. There's so much research that proves that exercise is great for mental health. It helps clear brain fog, and it helps reduce stress chemicals in your brain. I feel like when I exercise, it just works through a backlog of pent-up emotions, and I can feel my body relax. I think it also helps me deal with anger and frustration, and I just like it. I know a lot of people exercise in the morning, but for me, back when I worked full-time, I used to always go climbing or for a hike or run after work. That's when I needed it the most, and it was hard for me to get motivated in the morning, but by afternoon, I was looking forward to it. Now that we're stuck in our homes with the coronavirus pandemic, I'm doing more inside workouts. I like the 7-minute workouts on my phone or the Fitness Marshal on YouTube. Number 4, nature time. This takes me back to another aspect of my mental health routine that is really important for me. Outside time. I need nature. I need to see the sky and soak in some sun. I'm fortunate to live in a beautiful place, and I take advantage of that by getting outside. There is some research showing that sunshine and nature and being outside changes our physiology. It slows our heart rate and decreases stress chemicals and stuff. But regardless of the research, I can just feel the difference for me. If you can't get outside, open your windows, sit on your porch, or if you can't do any of that, then you could spend some time looking at beautiful landscape photography or a nature film. Your brain has the ability to bring to mind the feelings of nature just by imagining it. Number 5, my evening routine. My evening routine looks like getting my kids to bed and then taking some quiet time for myself. I usually take a hot bath and read a book or an archaeology journal. I'm kind of nerdy, but that's what I like. Even though I have very few hours to work on my passion project, these videos, I don't usually work in the evenings because it would just stress me out a little and I need the downtime to stay healthy. So then before bed, I write in my journal. I often take the time to write about my wins and accomplishments of the day so that I can remember them because it's my natural habit to dwell on my mistakes and shortcomings. So I write about my wins, and then I pray a prayer of gratitude and talk with my Heavenly Father about my day. Again, gratitude practice is an essential habit of mental health, and it's been shown to be an effective treatment for depression. So you can pray about it like me, express gratitude as a family, which we do at dinner time, or write about it, whatever works for you. And then I go to bed. I try not to spend too much time looking at screens before bed, but if I do, I choose some calming documentary or a mudlarking channel, like Nicola White's. If you don't know what mudlarking is, it's just finding historical bits of treasures on Thames in London. Anyways, I find it relaxing. I encourage people not to be on TV because it's just not super great for your brain. But if you do, choose a short and calming show. Lastly, other self-care. For me, that includes scheduling in some time for my hobby. I have tons of hobbies, but because I'm so busy with kids, I really don't have time to do most of them. But I make sure to carve out about 2 hours a week to do at least one of them. Right now, that's metal detecting, which is something fun and relaxing for me. I put it on the calendar so that I make sure it happens. I also take the Sabbath off. No work, no housework. I don't check my work email. I let my brain completely focus on other things. I make sure to have social time as well. Having social interactions is really essential for mental health. Our brains are inherently social. We are social creatures. So right now, this is going to be an extra challenge with the coronavirus. I'm taking the time to call up old friends. I have some groups I'm hanging out with on Zoom, and when we're not on lockdown, I meet up with friends to let the kids play or to go out to lunch or whatever. So, there you have it, my daily routine to maintain mental health. I have a careful morning routine. I make sure to get enough sleep. I get dressed every day. I exercise and get some outside time. I carve out time to relax each evening, practice gratitude, and acknowledge my successes of the day. And once a week, I make sure to get out and do something just for me. Stress, anxiety, and social isolation can all contribute to depression. But you can prevent depression during stressful times like the pandemic and social distancing by using daily habits that promote mental health. Depression is treatable, and there are some simple things you can do every day to prevent depression and stay mentally healthy. I hope you can find some things from this list that help you figure out a way to maintain your mental health today, this week, and during the crazy pandemic that we're going through. And remember, you're braver than you know and stronger than you think. Thanks for watching, and take care.